Look, I mean, people already missed it because we had a great conversation before we started recording this podcast episode, which we talked about a little bit what's happening right now in space and India and the excitement. And you're currently in India at the moment. But for the people who don't know, Vishal Singh. So welcome, Vishal, to Altair Insights Podcast. It's good to see you here with us again.
Hi, hi everybody. Thank you, Martina, for your awesome introduction of me. But you are nonetheless doing great things from Georgia to the world. Thank you for inviting me for this podcast. This is one of the best thing I'm doing after ISC 2023, and
Thank you. That was
and
a good time. That was a good time.
yeah, that was really good time, really great audience, and I appreciate for you all your efforts, especially you and Nicholas. You two made it really work, and it was awesome. If anything, you can call it, it's awesome.
Thank you, thank you. Well, I appreciate it. Look, we do that obviously, as the audience, our audience knows, we do that for them. We don't do this for ourselves. We do this also for the companies, for yourself when you're speaking at those events, to get exposure to on a global scale to different markets, different audiences, and to showcase what yourself and other companies are working on. But it's really for the people to access that information and to use it whatever way they want to use it, right? There's people who right now thinking about, propulsion, satellite engineering, maybe some sort of a technology. AI now is starting to play a really big part, as it seems, in this industry as well. And there's a lot of people being hyped up at the moment about this. So that's what it's about. Just pushing the excitement of the industry, as we discussed before with the statistics of India, that close to 90% of people are enthusiastic. Would like to see that across the planet, of course. I mean, it's going to be
Yeah,
very difficult, but look, I mean, once we have that target, we know what we're after. So one day maybe we'll hit it.
yeah. The thing is, as you talk about, India is 90% enthusiast about thing, and I guess the world has to be 90% enthusiast for this space exploration,
Mm,
and the world has to come over a platform to understand, not every because it's an expensive affair, to be honest. Exploring space is expensive affair, so the services do it. So,
yeah,
we all have to come together and do our part. Not everyone has to reinvent the wheel again and again.
exactly.
Some has to work on the wheel, some has to work on the pedals to rotate the wheel.
Hmm.
So,
That's very true.
yeah,
So Vishal, again, as we discussed a little bit prior this, and you sent some suggestions and points that you like to talk about, which is always good. It helps me to prep for these interviews and really dig in and to provide value for the audience out there. One of the things that you also mentioned that you like to discuss is the collaboration and cooperation, and we also talked about that prior to recording
yes.
this interview as well. So, can you elaborate on that more and talk about the key drivers behind cooperation efforts among different countries, right? Because if we have some
So,
of those big projects and we say, okay, we need to put that together, maybe there's again privacy law, whatever comes in place. If we take it on a big level, how countries can collaborate in initiatives in space.
so, like as I always say, like before, also we were talking about the collaboration.
Yeah.
Space is a collaborative effort. You can't go alone in the space, right? So if you want to go, and for the bigger missions, you have to come across, bring the technologies, uh, bridge the gaps with the technology and everything. So currently, the way of making trust and privacy, it has been demonstrated by the blockchain, right? You can do that.
Mm-hmm.
So that could be a framework which countries and companies can adopt across the borders to share data through blockchain-based platform. And to be
Mm-hmm.
honest, I'm not promoting my company work to have the blockchain-based solution
Fine.
for this kind of thing, but this is the solution. Where
That's right.
you have the complete access to your information, but the blockchain is going to play a crucial role when we talk about the collaborative efforts, which concern privacy, data sharing, and technology sharing. So,
Mm-hmm.
that will be the thing which going to be coming in the picture very soon.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking like by 2027, we would be having the people adopting this technology. Not only in the space industry, to be honest, like in any industry, the blockchain is the way to build trust. It's not
And
about
yeah,
and the issue with the blockchain is people have seen one project of the blockchain, and I should say one child of the blockchain, that is like cryptocurrency.
hmm,
They have just seen the cryptocurrency and NFTs. They have not seen how what miracles can blockchain can do
yeah.
otherwise, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Uh,
They have no
and,
point. Yeah. So I have a question, Vishal, if you don't mind, because I think because you might be going that path, and maybe I'm gonna take you the same path with this question, or maybe we're just gonna go to different paths. So we'll see.
yeah, sure.
But the thing is that I want to ask again when we're talking about blockchain, and people are not familiar with other values that blockchain provides besides crypto. Now talking about the space industry, and you're saying 2027, how much education does still has to be done in the space industry for companies to understand the value of the blockchain?
So, first of all, there's a lot of education has to be done to people to understand the space exploration itself,
Mm,
and
okay.
uh, and that's where you Altair Academy is stepping, like they're putting the milestones and stepping stone
Thank you for the
across
plug.
yeah. As well as like for the space exploration, like it can't be just you can't just take the student for the engineering college and teach them the space exploration. You have to
Hmm.
build that thing from the beginning for the student, like people do for the coding, right? For the IT industry, they have the inclination by their own childhood. Like when they are in sixth standard or ninth standard, they start learning coding, HTML, C++, Java. So
Mm,
same way people has to tackle this thing like space exploration. They have to learn basic concepts like what are like when they learn the Newton's law, they should understand how the rocket works,
hmm,
right? That imagination has to be like that seed of imagination has to be sown back in the early ages. Then only somebody can
yeah.
dream of interplanetary. Like we as people, we are just like we are just thinking of taking us out of Earth and
Mm,
beyond that.
yeah.
But our coming generation has to think of living on a planet and having a lifestyle over some planet and something. So like that's a seed has to be sown now when
Mm.
they are young. Uh,
I see. So, and we probably both are a little bit excited because I just seen just yesterday. You probably also watched Starship first test flight, fully
ye-
stacked. I mean,
yes.
that was something to watch. I mean, that was incredible when speaking about that we have to have this perspective of as a young child already instill that perspective of being multiplanetary species. That blockchain is important. That this is the way the future is going to unfold. But let me ask you a question because you brought up Altair Academy and we have on-demand courses and all of it for people to explore on-demand, courses about in different topics for space industry. But the thing is that if we're talking about like accelerating the growth of the industry, and we hear companies, and financial institutions like Morgan Stanley, we heard this number like so many times, a $1 trillion economy, $1 trillion, but the reality is different, right? We're right now in a tougher time economically. A lot of companies are going into foreclosure, they're closing doors. It's kind of slowed down now a little bit, and obviously damaged a lot of companies. Profits are not there as used to be. So things are a little bit different. And then when we're talking about education, if it's in the hands of private companies like ourselves, which we're not MIT. We don't, there. It's not like millions and millions of people knows us now, right? So if it's only in charge that we as a private companies can put courses out, let's say about the blockchain and space exploration, and communicate that with the end user that will be our under 18-year-old kids or over 18 students, that could be a slow process. How about if we're talking
Yes,
about institutions, legal institutions that we have right now, like MIT, right, or
yes.
whatever the big institution could be?
That's
How are they
why
approaching this as well? Blockchain, space exploration. I mean, are they adopting this information and now putting that in a curriculum, or for them is like, well, it kind of doesn't matter for now?
So, like, if you go on the MIT online courses or Harvard online courses, they have put blockchain courses, space engineering courses online,
Hmm.
orbital planning, and all those courses are mission planning. Everything it has been
Yeah,
online, but it has to be a collaborative effort. First of
that's
all,
right.
like neither
What
alone
where
MIT
are they
can
getting?
achieve.
Where are they getting? So who's teaching those courses? I mean, are they the lecturers who've been teaching
The
variety of different?
pre-recorded videos, I guess, like I have not been enrolled to any of these, but as I
Yeah.
see the structure of the courses out there, uh, they are pre-recorded videos with the assessments available on which you get the comment and the group discussion happening between the student, and sometimes faculty join in.
Yeah.
But things like quality of quality of content has to be monitored. What
Yeah.
it is
Yeah.
being passed, it's not should be just there are many institutions which are trying to make money out of it. Instead,
Hmm.
if you are doing it, you make money, but when you're trying to make money, make sure that you are delivering right. If you're taking the money, deliver for the money.
That's right.
That's my if I take a money from somebody, it's my prime duty to deliver the task, whatever I have
Exactly.
taken, the best task of that
Yeah.
amount, right?
Yeah.
So the thing is, like, these platforms are coming in now. Like Udemy also have many courses, which some of them I am enrolled to. And going back to like there are all a lot many other platforms. The Coursera, it's already offering a lot of things. But the problem is of these online platforms, they lack the emotional touch. Like
That's
you
right.
used
That's what
to
I wanted to say as well. Yeah.
yeah like you used to have that the connect with your like teacher back in school when you were
Hmm.
getting taught the basic things. That's why your imagination was so like it's so future oriented that you were able to come up with the idea of Altair Academy. That's so futuristic that we came up with the idea of Lunargistics. We think of there should be a platform of things which where the people can build their trust and trade their assets in space, because you can't go to moon and then go to Mars. You'll sell your land or sell your mine output out there and sign the contracts. You have to have a
Hmm.
trust built it blockchain based platform where you can't
Yeah.
cheat anybody.
Hmm. Yeah.
So that's the key takeaway from it, like right. So when we talk about the collaborative efforts, it has to come from the institution, not only like educational institution, but the leaders of the space exploration.
Yeah.
They have to
Yeah.
come up with this
Which is hard.
yeah
This is
that
hard because when we're talking about leaders of space exploration, I can only think about a handful of people, and those handful of people obviously they cannot influence the entire world because
they can't.
education is a big casino. That's a big
Yeah,
casino. I mean, I mean, and it's being in hands of many wealthy institutions and individuals that they want it
yes,
to run the way it's running right now with no changes.
yes. So, like Altair is offering the course, right? You have
Yeah.
already started making the change in the system,
Well, we're
right?
not the only ones. Obviously, there's many others, as you mentioned, like Udemy or Coursera or whatnot.
Yeah. So
But
you have that's a
yeah.
small, see, like how a point, like if you go through the Big Bang Theory, the point uh, started and we started as a point and became a complete universe, right? So
Hmm.
these point expansions like Altair Academy, Udemy, and all other places are like the places which would be going to, and even the Lunargistics has started their own. Like we are also planning to have our own education system for the young kids in US,
Hmm.
promoting the space exploration. As you said, like
Yeah.
US is having 53% only enthusiast people for the space exploration, and India is having 90%. So to uplift that enthusiasm in the United States and
Hmm.
Europe and the Western countries, we are
That's right.
taking taking those flags and starting doing these things. And like it's always been there. Like before Amazon came up, there were Microsoft having the monopoly in the industry. Before that, before Allen came up, there were NASA having the monopoly of the launch vehicles and everything. So
Hmm.
there are always monopolies in every industry. There
Hmm.
there has to be a one. uh, there's a slow and like gradual development by one person who changed the narrative. And how you
Mm,
can say like these people can't change the narrative? They have changed the narrative of space exploration.
mm,
If you go back in 2000, early 2000, and before 90s, people used to think the space exploration is the government job, government
mm-hmm.
thing. Now you see like there are 4000 more than 4000 space startups. So we
Yeah.
are in the business of space now, like and if somebody can't can, like economic slowing down, I agree, economic slowing down. So
Mm,
it's very hard for like raising money for the futuristic missions for
mm-hmm.
this time, because people are, when the economy slows down, people look for a short quick money rather than the long
Yep.
investment in the
Yep.
research. So it always happens in a 10 year or 15-year cycle, always. It's not the first time it's happening, but space hasn't stopped growing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Back into we have the space has seen 2008 crisis, it has seen 2011 crisis, it has seen COVID, it has seen now this crisis. So we have been through all these things through thicks and thins, and yeah, it's a tough time for the startups, but yeah, you know,
Yeah.
oh, oh, this is a testing time for the real technologies.
Yeah, I think so. This is a good point. So I think that the thing is that, and it's my own personal opinion, and obviously I shaped my opinion by talking with hundreds and hundreds of people. Obviously, as you know, by organizing big virtual and in-person events where we talk literally with hundreds and hundreds of different companies and individuals and decision makers. What I see that's happening in the space industry, which myself, because I'm not like was born and suddenly I was like 7 and I was like I wasn't like Warren Buffett that at the age of 5 I was like want to trade stocks. It wasn't like that. I went to a different industry and then I went into different industry and different industry and different industry, and now 2 years only right now it's the space industry that I'm involved in fully, right? But the thing is that I see in this industry, which in my personal point of view, and then talking with those individuals, that this industry is being treated a little bit different than my personal expectations were. Because I believe personally, just looking at the industry, and vastness of space, and there's Moon and Mars and all these amazing missions, deep space missions, asteroid mining and resource utilization, whatever that could be, right? And if you pick up the book of Carl Sagan, and you think about the Voyager, that's what space is supposed to be about, right? Really going into deep space missions, because we have resources available, by the way, right? There is cash available. I mean, there's no limited amount of this that we can allocate. When governments allocate budgets to the NASA, and it's 23.5 billion versus 500 billion for the military. Look, there is budgets available, trust me. But somehow we're not allocating that to the right place, which should be space exploration. Because if one day a meteor hits, that's done for everybody. Rich or
There,
poor, you're elitist, you're whatnot, it's done, right?
there's
There's no
one
escape
more
plan.
thing. Yeah,
So the
there's
thing
one
is,
more thing.
Vishal, so if you don't mind, I'll just finish my thought that basically the thing is that I see is a little bit wrong, that a lot of people go in this industry and they're like, well, okay, let me go and make some cash, right? And that's what we currently see. And that's a real situation, because people go into here, and I understand for business to succeed, you have to think about the revenues, because otherwise you're just going to close the doors. And that's what also we see in a
Yes.
lot of companies because of that. But to go in the industry and be like, okay, let me sell you something, even though that adds more problems than create solution, because business in the core is what? To provide a service or a product to solve to provide a service or product to solve somebody's problem, right? That's in the
Yes.
core. That's what the business is. And now we're seeing all these issues happening with Leo sector, for example, and space debris. That this actually can accumulate to the point of and we're going to reach this Kessler syndrome, which is really a reality, because we have board advisors in our company that are working at European Space Agency, and they're like, look, like it's really bad. I mean, the situation is getting close. We're getting closer to that point where we in the future will have zero even talks about going to Moon and Mars, because it's going to be so polluted out there, right? But the industry players and the space startups, the people that are watching right now, and they're thinking, Let me create my own, 3U CubeSat and let me drop it out there and let's provide imagery. Like there's dozens of companies who are already doing that. I mean, we already should be okay with the current images and current companies that been, in the industry for maybe decades, and they continue to provide their services better and better and better. So there is no lack of that. But because this industry seems like is becoming like a gold rush in some case,
Ah,
right? And people are
yeah,
rushing through
that
because
that's
they want the income, which is not the right thing to do, I
that's
guess.
one perspective to it. I should
Yeah.
say there's one perspective, and that's very true perspective. Also, like people who are into business, they want to make a quick cash, and they understand the remote sensing through the
Yeah,
Leo.
yeah, but the thing is, Vishal, my point, they focus on profit versus sustainability, which is that what I
Yes,
don't like, because
yeah.
because the because profits will end up for everybody.
So profits aren't like always. See, if you just think about people on earth who are like who has the cash for these things, who has the money for these things, just
Mm.
focus on the investing of the future. Uh, they run out of money, so they need a cash stream also. So, like if you see as an investor perspective, they are not wrong for
Of
expecting the
course,
money out of it. But when you talk about sustainability, like sustainable development has to be the part only when you have the inclusiveness and collaborate effort. That's where we started this chat, right? Like the collaboration has to become up, and that's where the Lunargistics come in. Like we
exactly.
are the people who bring the trust between the people. We help you to protect your data. We help you to protect your documentation. We get you compliant with the national laws. Like we are the people for these things only. And you rightly pointed out that NASA and US is spending more on the military budget than NASA budget. But you just imagine, like with the current technology saturation and whatever technology we have currently with us, we go for a deep space mission. By the time it reached the destination, the people who launched it would be dead.
Hmm.
and
Yeah,
and
because
the
just the fact for people, I had a pleasure to interview and have on the international convention also, as we're also going to have Brent back once again. So Brent will be, he's one of the members on the DART mission. Obviously, that was a successful technology demonstration mission, thanks to the universe, but it's the first one. So imagine that
yeah.
there has not been any mission. So we're basically how
So like
vulnerable we are to the potential threats, right?
but if you see the investment in the quantum communication, that's for the space technology to make the things possible. So you are
Mm.
seeing like in the current scenario, there is no mission, but people are planning it out. Like the right technology has to be in the place when you talk about the like even if let's say we go to the Voyager, it generates some signal that something is coming to us. How much time it will take to reach to us?
Mm.
Like
Yeah, but
nothing. So
yeah, but that's what
data.
I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, Vishal. The point is when we're speaking about collaboration, and my question, which is now became very long answer as we both here discussing, but I think it's a good content for people to understand that that's the threshold that I'm speaking about. Because if I, as we pinpointed, the company like SpaceX, if SpaceX is capable, how many employees SpaceX has? Probably 10,000 people, maybe something around that, right? Let's say if the company is capable to deliver, first company ever to deliver reusable launch vehicles, and now to have a Starship again is almost close to successful mission, and that's one company, person with idea with a team. Imagine what humans can do collectively together,
So that's
right?
the thing that like as you were talking before we started the podcast about the collab, how people act like when they come to collab, they want to know your information and doesn't want to share things.
That's right. It
So
does happen,
like
not all the time, but it does happen.
yeah, it happen not all the time, but oftenly it happens. The often times
Yeah,
these
because
collab.
why does it happen, Vishal? Because people are focusing on profits, not the
People
collaboration.
yeah, so that's where I was coming to. Like people are
Yeah.
not able to trust humans in between, right?
Yep.
Like they don't able to build the trust between them. Like when we talk about data sharing, I trust you. Okay, I'm having a tough time, Martin. I want to find a job. people they gone there those days people used to ask for this like help to each other.
Mm,
If you go this time of Instagram where you have to showcase your life is you're living in all luxuries, you don't have any issues. So people are more into like showcasing that they are more content than they are. So this superficial life over the internet has created this kind of thing, which is like a quick money. They want to make the quick money. So
mm,
one of the drawback of like I feel of the internet was the quick money.
yeah.
Like if you see many billionaires are billionaires because they in catch the opportunity of the quick money through internet. They were at the
Yeah.
right place at the right time. It's not because they were very talented or something. They were at the right place at the right time. So, the quick money is the issue of the society. And again, that's when the crypto came in the picture through blockchain. That is also again an issue of quick money. And we had our first conversation over this. If you remember, the people are getting money so much money in trading through the cryptos and getting rich instead of doing hard work. And hard work is getting
Hmm.
not so important in their lives, right? So this quick money is the biggest issue, right? If you want to solve it, you have to build a trust, and again the blockchain will come in the picture. You
Mm,
want to build a trust, you want to have the sharing places, like okay, this is the contract you signed, so we have to sign a contract over a blockchain platform, let's say NFT, and that's
yeah.
remain intact for the ages to come. And
I
if you
believe
share,
I
so
believe
this
Vishal.
is
I believe Vishal. This could be a good answer, really, and I think for people out there, obviously, this episode is going to be all over the board. And if you're coming across Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, whatever you are, I hope you're hearing the message, because when I was also involved in a habitat design mission, which we had with a specific institution. Obviously, it's not operational anymore. That business is not there, but we also was working and looking towards automated way in terms of communicating and dealing with challenges. And it's already been done by other habitats and other missions, that basically AI system steps in when there is, let's say, a conflict between two or three people. So AI, let's say that could be a voice, as we see in the movies,
yeah.
beep, 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 and basically it jumps in and is like, let me help you guys. Let me tell you what you should do right now. First of all, you probably should calm down, just breathe slowly. So you see, it will actually do that, because we as humans, we're very emotional, right? And we say that through this interview, we get heated, we just like wave the hands, and we're like, no, 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 let me tell you, right? Where the system, it will communicate that by the facts. So that's why I think it's really good for people to go back to the last 5 or 10 minutes that we've been discussing here, especially those companies that we said that they need the education to understand the importance of blockchain, right? And to really
Yes.
understand where this is going.
So, like, apart from anything, first, the space industry has to understand space is a collaborative effort. Not everyone has to reach to the moon. Some has to plan for Mars, some has to plan for Venus, and some has to plan for Jupiter. Not everyone has to plan for only one planet. First of thing, like okay, I will provide you a propulsion system. I will go and build a refueling center at the moon. You take care of after moon. I will take care till Mars. You take care after. I will build a habitat and hotels in the Mars for you. You take care after Mars. So that has to be the effort across the industry. That has to be done. This is the ideal situation, but ideal and the real has to be, there would be some issues. So there would be, like, I guess there would be a collaborative efforts by the countries like European Union, and as well as like America. Somewhat Indian would come in, but as you say, see the recent development between the G20 countries, especially the South Asian countries. There's again alienation. We may face alienation from the West for signing some contracts with China and all those things. So, first of all, like, people has to understand space has to be like a collaborative effort which is beyond the borders, beyond the
Hmm.
boundaries. Like it's not a China issue, it's not the India issue, it's not the US issue, it's not the Georgia issue, it's not the French issue. It's a world's issue. World has
Exactly.
to come over a forum, and we small people has to bring that, because bigger players are always into like, okay, we have the profits, we are getting the bigger chunk of it. Even if it goes
Mm,
to the war, we would be selling the weapons, we will be taking the weapons to our cargo starship, we will still be making money. And when
mm.
you pointed out, Elon Musk is the only one, because Elon Musk is the only one with the resources, I would say.
Yeah. Look, I had a podcast actually today also where we discussed with a gentleman, and he mentioned that, again, I forgot a number again, but it's big. We're talking about, I think it's $150 billion a year. That's how much oil is being smuggled to different countries. So imagine we're talking about resource, right? And that's $150 billion. And then obviously he talked about SAR technology that's being applied in terms of spotting that, and mitigate that. But 150 billion. So as I said to him, having satellite technology that could spot this, I mean, SAR solution that military has been using forever, it's a good thing. But that means somebody else is not paying attention to the situation. Maybe somebody is getting paid, and just like,
Yes,
well, nothing's happening. So that's what I'm talking about, the greed, because also you mentioned about working collectively. How many times, if we have a neighbor and neighbor's house is on fire, is like sitting outside on the porch and drinking coffee. Oh, thank God it's not me, right? So it goes down really to that level of, okay, we have to be understand that there's people around. And now, because you also mentioned social media and everything is shaped our mind in a way that, I know people like, especially in the UK, and in Norway, many different countries, they used to never lock the doors, always keep the doors unlocked, right? Because they used to be like, look, I trust my neighbors, I trust my community. Go around cities and towns right now.
Yeah, I will tell you, like, one very, very, very nice incident happened with me in Luxembourg. I was in Luxembourg, you know,
Yeah.
and I dropped my wallet. It has passport, it has some cash, and when I went back on the route, I found my wallet kept aside, and like no one touched it back in 2019. So
Mm.
there are the good peoples.
There are, yeah.
And when I realized like how it is happening, if you go and look back into the education system of Luxembourg and the way they provide things, education is free for Luxembourg people.
Mm.
Transport is free for them,
Yeah.
right? So, when you give the basic education or education as a free to people, people are not paying
But
for it,
but there is a
but
catch. There must be a catch, because I mean, and I love United States for one reason. I do believe, as we kind of go and back and forth with, is money important, and should be priority first versus sustainability and cooperation? Obviously not, but it's a very thin line, and it's very hard to operate on that line, and making sure that you're heading towards that good future. But I love that US also has capitalistic overview on things, which things are not free, right? But that means it's abundance, almost like in opportunities that you might have. Which, when people talking about oh, this, let's make it free insurance, free this, free that. I mean, there's a catch. Look, you're gonna pay something in taxes, which is gonna be so much more at
yes,
the end than they're just paying for the
no,
studies
like
at the beginning.
like when you talk about a free, you are paying something in taxes, that's like, okay, but you taxable service, like, this is
Could be
always a
something
cross
else.
check. So
Could be something else.
I'm telling you, like, if you're paying in taxes and you're getting those kind of service like education, medical, transport for free, and they are under 30% of taxes, there could be something else.
Hmm.
I'm totally agreeing with it. But
Yeah.
when you talk about free education, what it bring, like education as a right, education, quality education for all,
Hmm.
right? And that because when private players are not there, nobody's inflating and deflating the salaries.
Yeah.
Salary has been set for the teachers, So people aim for that job, right? Like you may have the children's having aspiration to become a teacher. Now let's come to India. I'm not going anywhere else. I'm coming to India. The Because of the private players in the picture, nobody wants to be a primary school teacher because there are so many schools out there in the primary section. Not so many compared to the population, but they are so much in competition that they are paying very less salary, and they're getting anybody just come and teaching in the primary education, and that's where
Yeah.
you are right. When there's a fire in your neighborhood, you are sitting and sipping your coffee instead of helping them. It's because the primary education has been hampered by the privatization.
Hmm. And
Primary,
that's very uncertain for the teachers as well, because when you're working in a private institution versus government, where your position is almost guaranteed, just like with the government agencies in space, right?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
unless you're gonna decide to quit or something happens, but it's almost guaranteed. Versus in a
It's a
private,
job
like
security.
you
It's a
can
job
go
security.
just like that, yeah.
If you are a good teacher, if you see the payments, even in Europe, where maximum countries offer the free education for the primary education is almost free everywhere in Europe. Uh,
But is any and I don't know. I would love to get see some comments in a comment section. Is any of the best universities, let's say the best, free? Most of the universities in my head, they're like the best ones. They're all paid. Am I wrong?
there are scholarships, then
Yeah.
they have the scholarships, though. But yeah, like if you go to the one of the best university in France, if you are taking the course in French, it's free.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like if there's a effort has to be made for teaching in different language or third language, like in English, for the in France, they charge some money for that. And education in France is quite cheap also, right? So
Mm.
not to mention Germany, education is free if you're taking the courses in German. So, oh, and they are very they are TU Berlin, TU Munich, like they are the nice universities, right? You can't like say that those are not the nice engineering universities, right? They're the one of the best in the field, right? So
Mm.
there are free universities available which are best, but the issue is how much like how long government can fund it.
Mm.
So, like it's always a two-way road where funding overtakes. Sometimes funding is sometimes other things overtake, and government has to pull back. And there comes the inflation in the education market. But basic education has to be free for everybody, and has to be for the
Mm-hmm.
quality. And uh, uh,
Yep.
uh, I want to mention here the right angle which I am working for. They are working for that thing. So
Yep.
right
Yep.
angle, like I'm helping them right
But
now with the strategy.
is it gonna be free for people to enroll?
No, it's not gonna be free. Because like obviously it's a business. And we want to
Yeah.
take the money from the VCs, so we have to show the profit. But it has
Yeah.
to be a minimal cost to cover our expenses, like the people who are making it out for their
Yeah, yeah,
expenses. Like
but you say there's still something involved, right? Because just for the business, and I believe that that's one perspective of making things free. But as I used to always argue with my wife, she's like, oh, this cheap and good quality. I'm like, look, it doesn't exist. Like
yes, like
you want good quality, you have to pay the price.
so I also believe in this quote, like nothing comes for free in this world.
Yeah,
So you might say think like you are getting something for free, but it's not free.
yeah. No,
Your
so
pay,
as I told you with Luxembourg, you're gonna pay
yeah,
something.
yeah, you gotta pay something. But I like the concept like free education, free transport.
Sure,
You take the
sure.
taxes. You like you have the higher corporate taxes. I don't believe in
Hey Vishal, just give it a second. You just froze up.
Hello.
Yep.
I guess something happened. I just
No,
dropped
you're
out.
good.
Like,
You're good. You're good. No worries.
yeah, yeah. So I was telling, like, for the Luxembourg, if you go back, they're taking taxes or somewhere they are getting that money for. But the child in his early age has not to think about, like, my father doesn't have the money, my mother doesn't have the money to put me in the right place, right? That
Mm-hmm.
and so he will he will be getting the education sitting next to the billionaire or a millionaire child. So if you talk about that environment coming up, then he will be able to have that empathy about the people. He has to help the people. That empathy can be implemented. But when you talk about, like, when you introduce money in the system, as a younger child, there's no limit of fascination. Like, I want this, I want that, and that would be brought in with the money.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, so this is like, this basic education is gonna be crucial, right?
Of course. I mean,
So
it's statistics. The statistics, I'm sure it's somewhere out there, and I don't have that statistics on at the hand right now. But if you would compare two individuals or two different countries, two different nations, the one that is like lack has a lack of education versus the one that has education, you're going to see different levels of poverty, technology development, just just the way the country is
yes,
advanced. So of course education is important.
so if you I will just compare, like, if you compare European and South Asian countries, so when you talk about when they started the education system, these countries existed back in 300 years ago, but the maximum Asian countries come in picture in early 90s or the mid 90s. They were under the colonial rule, right? And many educational institution has been destroyed, and they left they were like forced to adopt the Western culture,
Mm.
leaving behind their old culture, what are their education system. So one of the education, Takshila and Nalanda, one of the leading back in when Harvard and Cambridge was not even in the picture. Those were the leading universities in India, but that was demolished by the people, and then Harvard and Cambridge came in the picture.
Mm. Interesting.
So, so like, these are the true facts, right? And even if you see the space race, it started with where, like, US and Russia taking
Mm.
kidnapping the German scientists and developing the
That's right.
developing
I don't know. I
developing.
don't. I don't know. I don't know if there was kidnapping involved, but I'm sure it was close to that.
Yeah. So, like, taking German scientists with them and developing their space program. That's how the space race started. And
Yeah. Yeah.
when you have made that economical and what you say educational like educational lackness in a region like South Asian region, which is the most poverty prone area of the world, by your
Mm.
colonial rule. Like, if you go back to London and go to the museums, you can call it like thief market. Everything
Oh wow.
everything in those museums are brought from South Asian countries. So, like, they may say, like, we have this culture, we have these many things in our artifact collection, but those are brought from the where, like, somewhere you smuggled
Hmm.
it back in
Yeah.
time.
Oh yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah. That's real. That's real. I heard about some big names, and we're talking about wealthy families that
yes,
like and there's also another thing, another big place that It's a huge market. I think it's also close to, I don't want to say a wrong number, but it's close also to $1 billion market per year, which is mummies. Individuals out there literally like stealing mummies and then reselling in a black market. And then some rich family acquire that and they just put that in a museum with their name on it. So how did that ended up in their hands? You know, that's a question, right? But
Yes,
it's a real thing.
it's
Just
a
like
real
with
thing.
oil.
And
Yeah.
now when world is at that stage that the country are lacking education, and then all those things, if education is not there, how you can talk about space and anything else?
Very
It's
detached.
complete. Yeah.
Exactly. So you brought a very powerful point right now, because that's the reality, as we also observed as being a space education company. Big, very, very huge detachment in some case, because we have an individual that literally walked out of McDonald's, right? And they're like, well, look, I just had a nice burger and I have to go back to do my shift. And look, we all been there. I've been there. I worked probably 12 plus jobs until it got to the point that companies used to ask me like, what's wrong with you? Like, well, why are you going through all these jobs? Like, because I was searching what I wanted to do when I was younger. Like, I couldn't find my place, right? Until I found business. But you know, like those people, they just go and work and go and eat and work and home, and it's like all this routine, right? And then imagine you meet that person on the street and it's like, boom, here's a book, here's something about space, and they're like, what? You know, one moment that was stacking food on the shelves, and now you're talking about something, you know, some satellite technology, right? It's very hard to integrate in people's lives, because especially now when seeing those, and I think one agency only, and I have not been studying ISRO yet too much. I think that's going to be a next thing that we have to do, because I'm sure they're doing something right and government is getting involved, because that's where we see that 90% almost excitement. But NASA, right? Like, I literally had the hat of NASA like thousands of miles away from Houston or anywhere, right? From NASA headquarters. And I had the hat. How did that ended up in my hands? Because of marketing, promotion, and making sure that space is important. T-shirts, whatever, right? And some of the agencies out there, they do nothing, right? They don't promote it. And marketing is a big piece, especially when you talk about to younger audience. Right now that you mentioned, they're on TikTok. They want to consume quick bite-sized information. TikTok, Instagram,
Yes.
whatever, the merchandise. Like we need to communicate that more often, because now, besides, if you say, okay, name a space agency, if you stop a person on the street, probably going to say NASA. Why? They probably never knew about NASA's missions, nothing like that. They cannot name probably one, but they will know probably because they have a T-shirt, or they had a T-shirt, or the friend had a
They have the
T-shirt, or whatnot.
hoodies.
Yeah,
Yeah, they have the also. That's how, like, that's another business, merchandise business, right? That's a
yeah,
revenue. That's a revenue source. I will merchant. I will give you the copyrights of my logo and this thing, and you make the merchandise out of it, and you give me the
yeah,
royalty
yeah,
out of it. That's
yeah,
how the NASA made money. Like
yeah.
like you see as one aspect. Okay, this is a marketing. I see it as like it's a passive income for a
Strategic.
business.
It's very strategic. Also, yeah.
Yeah. So like you are promoting a space agency across the globe, and you are feeling like proud to wear that. Oh, I have a NASA T-shirt.
Mm-hmm.
This is
Yeah,
what the same Carlson wear on that interview. The same
mm-hmm.
T-shirt I'm wearing, right? So you are feeling proud like that, and then you are feeling like okay. And on the other hand, NASA is getting their fair share of revenue.
Yeah,
So uh,
yeah. That's a very good point, because that's what's also missing. So I think really integrating that knowledge when we're talking about education and bringing people into space and collaboration, I believe, because now also by the statistics and by the views that we got, we actually got a person that she's working on L3 Harris company, and she was talking about the information transfer, which right now, if you would go as an individual, and look, Vishal, you attend quite a few events throughout the year, space events, right? When you go to
yeah.
expos, events, just look around and see what you see. Age wise, it's gonna be old fellas,
Yeah,
right?
so that's what
So
I started with. The average of the space veterans is like 48 years plus.
Yeah.
So, like when you knock the industry, space industry, they ask you what's your experience in space, and you say nothing. Okay, then come work as an intern.
Mm.
Bring me coffee, bring me, then you will get some experience. And this is how the industry is functioning. Like I'm
Yeah.
telling you, this is how the
I
industry
know.
is functioning.
Not even space, any
So,
industry.
yeah, and but especially in space, like when you go for a job, they ask you like 4 years, 5 years of space mission experience. I see like
Yeah.
how many people who just graduated from the university will be having the space mission experience,
Mm.
or even designing a space mission, knowing about the complexities of
Yeah.
launch and orbital maneuvers and trajectory planning, and
Hmm.
positioning your satellites or spacecraft, radiation shieldings, and all those aspect along with their general topics of strength of materials with their studies. None of that.
That's right. Yeah. Well,
They,
that's why all like a lot of these now companies you mentioned 4,000, and it's 4,000 probably 50 until we've been having this conversation. It's just because now those people when they go walk through the door, they have an interview and they're like, oh shit, I cannot get a job, so I'm gonna create my own deal, right? And
yes.
that's what's also happening.
So, yeah. So the people, like that's the issue, right? How we started Lunargistics. We wanted the people sitting in their backyard, like Steve Jobs and
Mm.
Bill Gates, to think about a space mission and take their space idea to the life,
Yep.
to bring their space. So this is how our Lunargistics started. To help the people sitting in their backyard to take their ideas to space. uh,
Mm.
but when we realized, okay, there are a lot of people, they're not getting job, and they think the startup is escape. Like I will open a startup that will help me to get some work, and then I will fail it and join some consultancy firm and get the good money. This is also a scenario of this whole world. Like I have seen many, and there are many good connection people who get the fund and they utilize it, and they say like, okay, I can like name you many industry, many space companies who developed things, and they said like they raised millions of money, 200 million, 300 million of dollars, and they said they don't know where the money went, and
Hmm.
they were not able to launch anything. So
Yep. Yeah.
these
Yeah.
are again a very concerning issues in this
Yep.
field. Like the people are coming up, they are getting money and they are not able to utilize it, and
Yep.
they are the
Yep.
companies who are struggling to raise money.
Why Vishal? Vishal, because look, I say that all the time. That's my personal motto that I say here in the space industry. I say space business is just a business. Because people tend to overcomplicate. They're like, oh no, suddenly because now you're in a space industry, this must be some, esoteric, futuristic, which is not. Like, look, it is a business at the end of the day. And
You
the issue
have to do
is
it.
the issue
You have
is
to do the
that
daily jobs daily. Like it's not
yeah,
always you are making a starship or something which is very fascinating. Sometimes you are
yeah,
just making a screw for that
exactly.
starship.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
it's a
But
daily
but
business.
but the thing
It's
is,
a
Vishal, that
collaborative.
the issue
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
what is the issue? The issue is that those individuals, smart, very smart, intelligent individuals who might finish the university, they went and they were like went for an interview, shut door, shut door, shut door. They couldn't get a job, and they're like, oh, I'm just gonna run my own deal, which is fine. But do you really have business knowledge or people around you that can help you with business development, sales, marketing, things that actually matter in business? Because if you only
Forget
have an
about
idea and a good
forget
product,
about the business knowledge. All these things can be like or I always say like a good entrepreneur or a businessman doesn't knows all things at his best, but he brings the best people together to
yeah,
work his idea.
facts,
uh, but
facts.
but he has the business acumen. He understand how business works. Like he understand, like he want this for him through this business. So, like you see, like many of these startups, they are formed in this, like in this world. Are like, okay, those people are doing it. I will leave my job. I will just form a startup, and I will make a lot of money. Those startups are formed for the money, and then they like even in India they link with the patriotism, like this for the Indian economy. though you open like, let's say, a retail shop of anything, a liquor shop or something, it is for going to contribute more into the economy than a space company, right? But again, that quick money comes in the like the quick money. You see, like, okay, if I open this, I just do some POCs, proof of concepts, and go to investor, I get some money, the quick money. I will invest it, I will buy a few houses, get the rent coming in, my life is sorted.
Mm,
This quick money has created the issue of these all this thing, which
that's right.
link back to the that section when I was talking
Yeah,
about the quick money, how
but the
how
reality, but the reality is this, Vishal. Look, the prices are inflating for food, for gas, for rent, for everything. And people feel it. While at the same time, it's always been like that, and it is right now. Prices are inflating, and your salary is the same. So how people cannot be forced to think about profit?
No, thinking about profit and thinking about quick money, this is a two different thing. Like,
Yeah, but you need to pay the rent tomorrow. So that's why
yes,
it's like I need the quick money. What I'm gonna do like next week? I need to pay insurance. I need to pay this. So people are just chasing it, which is a wrong thing to do. But I understand their position as well. So how do we
yeah,
fix
yeah,
this?
yeah. So like, it doesn't make you to do something wrong. For like, if I take money from you to develop something, I will deliver it, right? Like, the biggest pressure on me was like, if I take money from somebody else that doesn't belong to me to finish some work, uh, until I can tell that money is mine because I did the work.
Yeah.
Right. So that pressure has been removed now. They understand, okay, I will fool the people. So that is something wrong.
Mm,
I am not against that you go and open a startup, raise money, be rich, have multiple source of revenues. I'm not against it. I'm just telling you, if you're taking money for something, finish that work.
mm-hmm.
Like, you're going to make a rocket, make the rocket, launch it, then you call that money yours. Okay, I generated this much money through this thing. And Musk, what he did,
Mm,
he made a PayPal, he sold it out, he used that money, Tesla money, Tesla profit to fund SpaceX,
mm,
right?
yeah.
When these things are got into profit, then he's calling those money belongs to him. Even his valuation increased to the world richest valuation, but he still don't have that money, right? His
Yeah.
valuation is the world richest valuation.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean those are very good points, and I hope people are listening, especially when we're addressing this to right now to the startup founders and in terms of raising money. And we talked about that before. We started recording as well. That times are a little bit different, but if you have the right idea, obviously the money is gonna find you. But yeah, I agree with you fully. I mean, there's a lot of mistakes, a lot of issues are currently happening, and obviously we're not providing here answers. We're just raising some of those questions ourselves. We're not the
Yeah,
experts to the degree that we can solve somehow worldwide issues. But I
yeah,
think
obviously,
once we raise that and question it, which we as
that's what
adults
we should do. Like,
we don't.
if you
Yeah.
don't question, there would be always no, there will be no solution, right? If I
Mm,
start raising question, then only I will get the answers, I will get the solutions, right?
yeah.
The best thing, as in any industry, you can do is ask question. If you like want to learn, you want to grow, ask question. Even for your
Exactly.
all, like the key takeaway of this complete chat, I will say, like we were able to have this discussion because you kept asking question. And like,
The the worst thing
yeah,
that you can do is assume that you're always right. It's like, yeah,
yeah,
I know. Well, look, we all just figuring, literally, because
yeah, we
that's
are
sort
just
of that.
figuring out,
Yeah,
like that's why I said, like, collaborative work is important, right? Like, in a collaboration, we have like this discussions like this, like more people coming in, having a discussion.
better
But
chance of succeed, going to
yeah,
success. Yeah,
yeah, and having the best product developed, right?
yeah,
And
for
the
sure.
resources are utilized properly, not like everybody is building a rocket. Okay, Elon Musk is building a rocket. Once the rocket land, what he will be needing? The fueling centers. He would be needing oxygen places, food, the people for the
Yeah.
food, the place to stay, the radiation shielded
System.
bunkers for yeah,
System.
oxygen.
Infrastructure. So
Yeah,
just if we would look at right now, like I'm at home. If I would go there, there is a gas station, there is food store, there is garden center, there's clothing shop. I mean, it works exactly like that, right? Because
yes.
if you're a rocket, you need fuel, you need to drink, you need water, you need supplies, so that's exactly how it works. We just tend to overcomplicate that. That's what I said. Space business is just a business because people tend
And
that, but
you
the
just
corporation is
now,
hard.
yeah,
Corporation is
you
very hard.
just now, you just now open like multiple business domains for the people right now, right? Like you can go and develop the garden center in on the moon, and must will take care of the logistics. You take care of the development of the garden. So this is the collaborative work. You gave the example of collaborative work. Like I go down there, there's a fueling station. Somebody is doing the fueling station. Somebody has done. Not everybody is having the fueling station right now out there, right? Some is having the
Mm,
grocery stores also
yep.
nearby. So that's how the collaborative efforts has to be made. But for that kind of trust, because you're meeting people in person, has to be built, and the trust is going to build through the blockchain
Well,
at current stage. At the current
yeah.
stage, like I'm not like saying it's for forever, but for current with the current technological advancement, blockchain is the best way to build trust.
I hope so. Look, I really look, Vishal, with all due respect, enthusiasm, and positive, because I'm trying to look in the future and be like, yeah, well, things are gonna work out. Some days it may be like, well, just looking globally where things are in the space industry and economically, depends what channel you're gonna switch on. It's most of the time it's obviously bad. And obviously, I'm not following the news. I'm not even have a TV at home. All I do is business and work and network and having great talks as we're having right now. But I hope blockchain will be the solution to this, and it will put an end to this. Not understanding that collaboration is the key, really, to push everything, to push an industry further. I mean, it's really not complex. I mean, there's a lot of already a bunch of those smart individuals that understand way more complicated things in life and business than what we're talking right now, I guess, right?
Yes,
But
yes.
somehow we're skipping this through. We're like, no, that's not important. Or,
No,
or you know,
that's also important.
yeah,
I'm not ever gonna mention that I am the smartest or something like that. There are a lot of people who are more smart than me, and they have better ideas than me. And this is whatever I said. This is my personal with my level of understanding. What I
well,
feel
look,
like.
I would advise for people. That's how I make decisions. Like, first is gut feeling, which most of the time you're gonna be right. If you listen to your gut feeling, you're gonna be right
Yes,
most of the time, and then use logic.
yeah.
I mean, come on.
That feeling and logic is like okay, but or the people even their emotional behavior, they think their emotions were right, and they link it with the gut feeling or
Yeah,
and
but
that emotional and
but
that
Vishal,
emotions
we're in the
yeah.
space industry. This is supposed to be all about cold people, data, metrics, analytics. It's not about emotions, is it? This is a different
So
industry, or is it not?
no, not at all. Like oh, this is what the perception has been made for this industry that
Exactly, exactly.
if it was not about the emotion, this and only data and metrics, the Starship failure, first failure would have stopped the Allen to do it. So
Mm,
it was all about the emotional connect with the Starship to fly and having that breakthrough yesterday, like the first stage flew right. Okay,
yep,
the separation, there was something messed up with the separation. It blew off. That's okay, but this is how you grow. Oh,
yep.
and like next time you stand stronger. Like as the Batman said in the Batman, they quote like, "Why do we fall? We fall to rise higher," right? So that's what
I
happened
like that.
yesterday.
That's good. That's a good quote. Look, I think we can end up this episode here because this is a,
Yeah,
I mean, solid an hour and a half of very condensed information for people to understand collaboration and obviously how Lunargistics and your company and you are taking part of making that happen. So my advice would be, obviously, for people, is very simple. Follow this man right here, Vishal 0103 on LinkedIn. and obviously this will be included with the company link as well. Get close to this man and get him on the podcast if you have one, or send him a DM, a message on LinkedIn, and talk about this. It all starts with a conversation. This man is always open to cooperation, collaboration, as we're discussing today. So throw some ideas his way as well, and maybe you'll make something happen. But Vishal, I mean, always a pleasure to talk with you since the day one, and we continue to make good conversations happen, bring value to the people, and that's what it's all about on Altair Insights Podcast. So I appreciate you for dropping some really good knowledge today and sharing your insights. And
Yeah,
for the
same
people,
here thank you so much for your opportunity for this
you're welcome.
podcast, and as well as like the ISC 2023. I'm looking for 2024, and also for the upcoming webinar with you. It's always pleasure talking to you, and you bring a lot of insights for the industry and for the people. Keep doing it, like no matter what. I'm always with you. That's my, and all the people who are watching this, please go follow this man. He is the man behind many good things happening around this industry.
Well, I appreciate it. Things are just starting, but I'll take that. So, thanks, guys, again for watching this episode. Make sure to catch us next one on YouTube or podcast, whatever you're going to be. I'll see you around. Take care.